Let's talk about a sad story here. No other way to talk about this. Buccaneers linebacker Shaq Barrett's daughter, Arrayah, drowned in a swimming pool at her family's home in Tampa Bay, Florida on Sunday. All right, here's the quote. Today's tragic news is heartbreaking for all members of the Buccaneers family. Our thoughts and prayers are with Shaq, his wife Jordana, and the entire Barrett family during this unimaginably difficult time. While no words can provide true comfort at a time such as this, we offer our support and love as they begin to process this very profound loss of their beloved Arrayah. Woo! Okay, let's get the facts out there first. According to the reported police statement, officers were sent to the Barrett's home in response to a call that a child had fallen into a pool Sunday morning around 9:30 Eastern Time. Arrayah was taken to a hospital and later pronounced dead. It is not believed to be suspicious in nature at this time, but a purely accidental and tragic incident. Arrayah was the youngest of the 4 Barrett children. Okay, while we're talking matter of fact, let's talk about this situation. And this one hits home for me in many ways, and unimaginably is the perfect word they used in there, because you can't imagine, and as a parent, you don't want to imagine. I've tried to think through this story. I try to be empathetic in terms of thinking how they're going through this process right now, and then I stop myself short. I literally will not conceive this. And it's crazy because my daughter, my 4-year-old's name is Arrayah as well. And let me just take you back in terms of really going through this story. So I was a part of an organization, let's say 10 years ago. And the organization was about wellness and health, and it's still around. But the point of the story was they wanted to do a charity challenge, and they wanted to raise awareness and funds around swimming. In particular, changing the narrative of swimming from it being a physical activity and fun activity to a life-saving skill. You get the difference? Swimming is thought of as, oh, I like to swim, I like to have fun, etc. Physical activity, stay in shape, have fun with the kids, splash around, etc. They wanted to change that narrative or enhance it to, no, swimming actually saves lives. And what inspired them, what inspired me to do what I did in support of that organization was this. There was a drowning, and I think up to 7 people drowned in a lake. And as the story was told to me, there were 3 or 4 kids just sitting there around the lake and then went too far into the lake. None of those 3 or 4 kids could swim. Now, at this lake, they were having like a family reunion, a gathering. So then you see 3 or 4 kids who went too far in the lake. Now all of a sudden they're drowning. And then those adults all gathered there at this reunion couldn't swim as well. But 3 of them jumped in the attempt of saying, well, I'm bigger than the kids. You know, I'm older than the kids. Maybe I can grab the kids and get back, but didn't know how to swim themselves. 7, as it was told to me, died in that moment. The rest of the family members, knowing that they couldn't swim, didn't even jump in to try and attempt. And all of them drowned in that moment. When I heard that story, obviously I feel like you guys feel right now, like, wow. And I said, I got to do something about that. In part because the narrative is that black people can't swim, don't like to swim, etc. Messes up their hair, or they just don't like to swim. They don't have access to the pools and the resources. They didn't grow up with a pool in the backyard. Whatever it was, I knew that a person that looked like me could make an even greater impact because of that narrative, right? But more than that, I didn't care the color, I didn't care the background. I cared that I could help raise awareness and then all of a sudden make it more mindful for all adults that they learn to swim and that they teach their kids how to swim. So in our household, we, since the age of 6 months old, every one of our kids has participated in the ISR, which is an intense swim resource class. Now, it is pricey. I can't lie to you guys. I won't lie. It's intense in terms of the specialized training. But what comes from it is your kid will be able to float. My 6-month-old kids were able to float for as long as 15 minutes in time to you rescue them or you to be alerted that they're out there in the pool with no supervision, etc. They can float to the side of the pool, get themselves out. They can float in the middle of the pool screaming until you get there, or they can float and get themselves out. Crazy, right? Now, that's not the only way that you can obviously teach your kids how to swim. You could just take your kids down to a local YMCA or anywhere where there's a public pool and talk about some of the swim resources they have. Because last time I checked, most places have them, right? Just a swim class to teach your kids how to swim. Because as a parent, you can get caught up in the trap of thinking if your kid's around a pool, you'll watch your kids and then everything will be fine. That's not how it goes. Let me give you guys some stats and some facts on this because this is so important that we finally address this. And unfortunately, we have to do it in this way. Do you know in the United States, more children ages 1 through 4 die from drowning than any other cause of death? From 5 to 14, it is the number 2 cause of death behind unintentional motor vehicle crashes, right? You get it. All right, everybody gets in the car with a kid. They put on the seatbelts, they're in the car seats, etc. See how mindful you are when you put a kid in the car seat. Well, it has to be the same thing when you have your kids around water, lake, pond, pool, etc. They have to be able to know how to swim, how to escape, how to survive, right? And it's not just kids what's crazy because adults are also at risk as well. 4,000 fatal unintentional drownings, 11 a day. 11 people die a day from drowning, not just kids, adults. Are you kidding me? 8,000 non-fatal drownings, near-death experiences in the water. So what did I do to raise awareness for this charity? And I was scared. I was so terrified of doing this. I never wanted to swim in the ocean. Like I could do some body surfing, boogie board and all that. But when you start going past the pier, I was like, dog, nah. Only thing going past the pier is the hook on my fishing rod. I'm throwing it out there. That's all I got. I am not going that far. I was just terrified. Especially the Pacific Ocean. You put your hand under the water, you don't see your hand anymore. Not at the Bahamas, y'all. You look, you're like, this is dirty. What is under there? I'm thinking of all the sea creatures, etc. Terrified, literally, of going past the pier. I'm that guy. But for this, I had to swim 1 mile in the ocean, which meant I had to go out, and we left from Manhattan Beach, and then we went to Venice Beach. So I ended up swimming a little more than that. Manhattan Beach, LA people will know this is, to Venice Beach, it's a little bit of a trek. And I'm not driving, y'all. I'm swimming. And I did it to bring national awareness, which we did, to organizations that try to support those who are thinking about saving kids' lives in the water. So I did it. And terrified, yes, I did. But I raised their awareness, etc. All you guys out there got to understand the difficulties of what they're going through right now, the Barrett family. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the scenarios and the ways that they're going to have to move forward. Like, how do you even go in your backyard again? How do you ever step in that pool again? You never get over this. I mean, it's just unfortunate. And what's happened in this conversation is 2 things. You see people who are saying, okay, empathetically, and that's it. Wow, what a devastating loss. And then there's some people saying, but they're at fault, right? And it's interesting when you start talking about that. The difference in between blame and responsibility in this situation, right? We have to be more responsible. I do not want to blame in this situation anybody because it can happen to anybody. Give you an example. You ever go out with your kids, you go to one of these theme parks or something else, whatever it may be, and no one ever goes there with the intention of losing their kids. But there are always those moments where you're like, so we dress our kids up always in bright colors. And even then, there's been a time or 2 where MJ hit a corner and I'm like, you gotta stay in my sight line, right? Let's just be real about this, parents. You're like, hey, we're in public, next to me or in front of me, right? You just gotta do those things. Well, what about the pool? What about swimming? You know your kid can't swim, you gotta address that. I'm not sure in this situation if the kid could swim or not, but the point is, It's unfortunate what happened, and this is the result. Let's learn from it, right? And unlearn some behaviors of, I'm good. I don't need to know how to swim. I just stay away from the water. My father is 76 years old. He doesn't know how to swim. Every time I talk about it, doesn't want to know how to swim. His remedy now is I just stay away from the water. Not only does he stay away from the water, he loses out on all those experiences in the water and around the water. But that's his choice. But we can do something different. We can make a better choice. I want us to make that choice and spread the word, man. Just tell everybody, hey, bruh, it's time to unlearn that BS about not knowing how to swim, whatever that may be, those narratives, etc. And make sure we support this. So in this moment, do not blame. Just be more responsible. You know, it's like all of us in the game together. Sometimes you make a bad play. Sometimes things happen to you. In that moment, you got to learn from it. But I don't think there's a lesson that the Barretts can learn right now that's going to ever heal that heart, heal that hole that they have in their heart. Prayers out to them, thoughts out to them, love out to them, support them. And I think the best thing you can do for them right now, other than offering that love, is to make sure you're more responsible in your circle. Make sure that your people, including you, know how to swim.